welcome to the first episode of Goody Be Knowing, a safe space where we are working on healing, being vulnerable, being transparent, but also just creating a line of communication between women. My name is Goody, mostly known as Goody in the Game. I am a motivational speaker, but also a inspirational speaker, I should say, because I want to inspire you to not only do the best things in your life, but be the best you in your life. So, that's my little spiel. I have had a multitude of runs between being a former athlete, but also being a young woman in this world. And the crazy part about it is, my whole life I've pretty much tried to be true to that balance. Yes, I love sports and I am an extreme athlete to the most umpteenth degree. But at the same time, I am a woman and I am a mother, and I have struggles and things that I deal with on a daily basis. So how I deal with them, how I go through the journey, I've always been thinking about creating that space for women. Now, in the last few years, there's so many dope, amazing women that come in my life, and I've always been like, let's create this show, let's get in this space where we talk and we do all this, and of course, as we do as women, nobody has had any follow through. And I'm like, well, if nobody's gonna do it off the rip, I gotta start and create that space first. So this is why we are having the first episode of Goody Be Knowing. And like I said, this is going to be a safe space where we are going to be vulnerable, we are going to be transparent, and all my good people going to get some good love on them, because hopefully you will learn something from the things and the topics that we talk about. Hopefully you will be engaging in the community of my good people, and we will create a space together where, we learn and build together and inspire each other to do bigger and better things. So, all that being said, our first episode is going to be about trusting our intuition. Now, Lord, have mercy, how we ignore so much. And I can only speak for myself and how I am as a person. Being a coach and being a mentor, I look at people from the space of what their potential is, and in that space sometimes you got some duds and sometimes you have some superstars, and being able to determine when you are going to trust that intuition, when are you going to be able to lean into that all the time and trust. Sometimes you may miss. This is the crazy part. We will be in unfamiliar territory, move so differently, and trust whatever that movement is, instead of being solid, being sound, and trusting ourselves, trusting whoever the higher spirit is above us, and really listening to ourselves. If we just took a pause and listened to ourselves more, we would have so much more success as women, because we be knowing. Okay, that's why I said Goody be knowing. I be knowing, my first intuition, my first thought process, and then when I speak from that free, fluent, vulnerable truth space, a lot of other people relate to me. And I've always thought, like, my thought process is so crazy, it's so bizarre, but I think I'm more leaning into my new saying of, if I provide the water, the people will drink. And if I create this space of positivity and healing and vulnerability, and sometimes it's going to be tough conversations and sometimes I'm going to be acting a fool, but if I create that space, then we will see how it grows. And even in me doing this podcast and doing this show, I'm really trusting my intuition. I've always been, the little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Every story of my life has been about me talking and being a talker, and in the crazy sense of never trusting that intuition. Now, I've been a teacher, I've been a coach, and currently a broadcaster and sports reporter. My jobs relate to me talking. And the family joke is my great-grandfather, he was like, he told my mom when I was like 2 or 3, like, she talked my ear off the whole time you were gone. And if you know me, then you know I can talk. Okay? You know I can have a good conversation. And even sometimes talking to myself or thinking to myself, or I'm a big journaler, writing a lot of my thoughts, I was like, why not just talk in front of the camera and talk on a microphone? That's gold, by the way. And just be real with people and kind of just show the world myself. And be able to watch me along the journey and see my process. You guys will get all the tags and all that, as it comes. But really taking that leap of faith and trusting myself. I typically would say 80% of the time I am giving advice to somebody. Whether it's sports advice, whether it's life advice, whether it's encouragement, that is typically the space I'm in. And so the heavy fear and doubt of listening to that or hoping and praying, maybe I'll put myself in position to be what I dream myself of being. I have to be proactive in that. And that is also in trusting my intuition. I trust that I can do everything that I need to do, whether it's edit, record, do it solo, dolo, I create a show, whatever it is. I feel like I have the power to do that. I definitely feel like I have the capabilities and the strengths to do that. So with that being said, why am I not leaning into that? Why am I not trusting that? And sometimes it's, previous failures where you did not listen to yourself, or you did listen to yourself and you didn't get the results that you wanted. So why do I want to consistently listen to myself? Why do I want to consistently put myself in that position? I will say, as a woman, you hear a lot of things within. We are very in tune people. Even though it's some ratchet, crazy, we come in a multitude of things of women. But even with that, we have this connectedness to ourselves. And a lot of the times, it can be a million reasons why we don't listen to it. It could be the responsibilities we have as women. It could be having kids. It could be our job responsibilities. It could be what our actual role is in our families. It could be trying to lean into our dreams and aspirations. It is so much that plays into being a woman that we have to balance. And sometimes we do have to make decisions that is not based off our intuition, right? We do have to make, sometimes I say, logical decisions that may go against that. But still in that even felt awkward to say. Because I should always be enough tapped into myself where I'm trusting myself. I'm trusting my movement. I'm trusting my intuition. Or if I'm not, I'm in a space of prayer about what is going to be my next move. How should I make the next best decision for myself? And, that can be clouded. That can be judged. I will say in the past year, you guys are going to get a lot of reflection in this past year. I've had an amazing year and a toxic year. And in this last year, I didn't listen to myself. And when I say I didn't listen to myself, I'm a very solid, concrete person in what I want and what my goals are for myself. I've never wavered on that. Even since a kid, I've never wavered on being stern about my goals, my vision, my drive about what I want. And when you create conversation and you're open to conversation, sometimes it creates a space of judgment because people may not really understand what you're thinking. It also creates a space for people to share their opinion. Now, this is a major impact of why you may start not trusting your own intuition. Because when you open up conversation, you open up the ability for people to give their opinion. Now, if you are not in the great space, you will start taking heed to what these opinions are and be distracted. I will say personally, like I said, I love to talk. I am a 2-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour conversation type of gal. But in opening conversation, people will hear stuff that you say, or people will take things that you say and put it into perspective and then put out or project their interpretation of it. That is the number one sign of you not trusting or listening to your intuition. Now, that's not saying that you can't take advice or you can't listen to other people and hear how people, may help you and guide you along the way. But that's where you have to be even more in tune, because now at this point, I'm praying about the people that God brings into my life. I'm praying about, am I going to have a discernment about information that I receive or not? So that's another level of being in tune to yourself. But when you have these conversations, you do open it up to people's opinion, and it can be swayed. And people will see your gift and use it to their benefit. I know for me, like, a number one thing that I've struggled with is, and I've struggled with my intuition, because naturally I am a joyful person. You guys will see along the episodes, baby. I am 1 minute extremely high and I am 1 minute extremely low. And so I have this insane amount of joy. I don't know where it came from. Again, I am trying to be more in tune to my gifts. And I say it's a gift because no matter how bad my day was, no matter what the struggle was, no matter how hard it was, I can wake up and be on 10,000. This is no coffee, baby. This is, I wake up, turn the slaps on, joyful noise. I have always been that way. I was raised in a house like that. I saw my mother do it on a daily basis, wake up and have a smile. So I have this ability to do the same thing. No matter what happens, no matter how bad it may look, I can find a laughter or joy in that. And so with that, in my workspace or in my business spaces, I tend to become the Energizer Bunny for the group. And as I've transitioned into jobs, I've become more cold-hearted to that, because that is natural. That is the natural intuition of being happy, being smile, being joy, trying to bring light to people. And when I go against that, that is deterring against everything that I know in my everyday body, because that's just not me naturally. So when I go into new workspaces, I kind of try to be cold, shut off, because I don't want people to expect that every day is joyful for me. Every day is, glitter and rainbows, when some days are harder than others, some days are struggles, and I'm always trusting myself in what is going to be my next decision. And I really have learned in the last couple years of being in my 30s of, I've worked really hard to build a sound, solid woman, period. And I gotta lean into that. It is not a cockiness. It is, I know I've gone to practice every day and worked on myself. I'm a firm believer of therapy. So all my women, young and old, moms, whoever's listening, I'm always keen to a third party ear. And so non-biased and being safe in the space and creating that, whether it's family or individual, but also going to my main source in God and really, knowing where the power is, who wakes me up every day, who allows me to be the best me, who knew who I was going to be, whether I made a mistake or not. I am a firm believer in my faith. Now, I will tell y'all off the rip, I am not the Christian that you expected. I am not trying to be. But I know my faith is unwavering. I know, like I said, who my power and who my light is. And I am not trying to debate that with none of y'all, because that's me leaning into my own intuition, trusting myself and knowing the work that I'm putting in. I think that also supports being able to trust yourself in what decision you're going to make next and what move you're going to make. Is, like I said, there has to be some type of higher power than yourself. You are not the end all be all. And I've always been key to, he made me like this for a reason. Like, when I was young in the journey of like reasons why you may lose that voice inside and way it may be belittled, right? I was a girl. I played basketball. When I grew up, it was all boys that played basketball. So I was already an anomaly. So when people said like, oh, girls can't play basketball, I was like, oh, I can. I had a crazy amount of faith in myself and confidence in myself, which is why I played against boys and did, things of that nature. And then in my spiritual journey, I've always expressed like, I know there's a leadership and an anointing over my life. And in certain churches that I came up in, that was blocked. Like, women can only be in a specific category or a specific area of the church. And so I feel like when I am listening to my core self, it don't never turn out right. I remember even in basketball, I went to a really good school off the rip. And I knew, like, if I want to elevate my game and want to be at a certain level and go to college, I got to go to this school. I went to that school and, felt very underlooked, you know what I mean? Or overlooked, however you want to use it. But felt like they definitely didn't see me as an advantage at their school. And when I trusted my intuition and, had the conversation with my coach, one, it kind of backfired because I didn't get the results that I wanted. But then the same thing, it blessed me to make and be confident in my next decision. And so that is the overall grand scheme of listening and trusting yourself, and not always feeling like I have to share something or I have to get validation from something. Now, I will say that for sure, of feeling like I want my decision to be validated, but in reality, baby, I'm the only one that needs to validate it, and hopefully God is validated in my decision as well. So I really don't care about anybody else and how they feel about what decision I do for myself, what decision I make for my family, because at the end of the day, it's just me and God. Period. Okay? I cannot continue to allow myself to be in this space of life where hopefully everybody will accept my approval. Some people will not like it, and some people will love it. Some people will like it a little bit. It's doing the purpose, and that's what I think this biggest launch of this show and creating this space and doing what I'm supposed to do is leaning into what I've always felt my purpose was. I remember, like, of course, naturally, if you're a talker, you sang in the shower or you thought you could sing. I have a million karaoke machines and love singing and love karaoke, by the way. So, I remember that. I remember, using markers as microphones and talking and having these amazing interviews and talking to people, and definitely grew up in the Oprah era, but definitely felt like I was more of a Ayala. How am I going to help people live their best lives and maybe not be as stern as Miss Ayala, but Goody Giving Game. And that is the life of Goody Giving Game, of trusting my intuition. I love when my players, they make fun of me. They joke and laugh about my 60-second timeouts. But every day that I post, it creates a level of confidence and to reinstill that I am really about my purpose and my vision, and I want to show my players that. And I've had this great ability to be a young coach, a young educator, and be from the community that raised me and serviced me. And so in that process, a lot of people are like, why would you go back home from college, or why would you not go play in the professionals, and why would you not do this and this and that? I overall listened to what my greater purpose was in life. How can I make more of an impact? How can I be on the ground with you? Now, I will say, baby, it is not easy in no way, shape, form, or fashion to do the work that I do or have done majority of my adult life, but I trust myself. I trust that throughout all of this, when I started, I didn't know that I would make a difference. I was just doing something that I loved and what gave me pure fun, which is why I say being able to be in a space where I feel like I've never worked in my life. And now I make podcasts and create shows and have my own network. Hey, what else could go wrong? I will say that most of my adult life, trusting my intuition, has created no work and created a space of pure joy, which is probably why I can wake up every day and be in such a happy-go-lucky spirit, because in the reality of it is I wake up every day in a joyful space. And I have to wake up more in a space of listening to myself and trusting. Like, you know what you don't want. You know what ticks you off and what makes you mad. And in trusting yourself, I've asked God to just, make me have more empathy, make me have more grace to other things. But in reality, like, make me be in tune to what your purpose is. And the more I'm in tune to self, the more I'm in tune to what makes me feel the best woman possible, what makes me feel the best mom possible, is trusting the work that I put into myself in all aspects, whether it's spiritually, whether it's a work ethic, whether it's staying committed to my grind, whatever that looks like. You know what's best for you. You know you better than you. I would say the best terminology in an athletic sense of when we tell shooters, when shooters shoot, they know where their shot is going first. They're the first ones that know if it's going to go right, if it's going to go left, if it's short, if it's too hard. They are the first one that knows. So they should be the first ones to react. And that is the same way you should feel inside of, I'm the first one that knows if I'm off, if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, if I'm not in one accord, if whatever that is, you know. And typically your body responds as such. Like, I personally, like, I've had a ton of health issues based off sometimes being just in conflict and turmoil internally, and fighting and battling with myself and figuring out who is Goody and how do I do that at the best level. That may be a sports analogy, craziness. You guys will hear it a ton because I'm really just a former athlete, like I said, former coach, former educator, just normal person who's trying to figure out life and how do I put all that together and being fully transparent. The best thing about it, I will say, when I started coaching, I said, I want to be a coach that is transparent. Now, you ain't got to know all my business because my business is my business, as Untapped would say. But, like, being vulnerable as I'm a young coach, I'm struggling, I'm in school, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, my players responded well to that. So hopefully my audience will respond to that as well of, I want to create a space where there's not a real, there's nothing I'm really trying to hide. I want to be able to put myself in the best position to listen to myself and thrive in all the things that I want to be successful, period. There's no gimmicks. There's no. I don't really operate in that space well, as you can tell, and you will learn. But I don't operate well in that space of gimmicky. And when I didn't trust myself, I ignored red flags. Now, we will do that in work. We will do that in business. We will do that in relationships. Typically, the first sign of us not trusting our own intuition will be ignoring red flags. Now, my aunt said, when a person shows you who they are, believe them through and through. Now, it is you to determine where you will categorize these people. But at the end of the day, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. And like I said, because I struggle with seeing people's potential and seeing where they possibly can grow and be into, that also puts me into trying to raise, trying to fix, trying to change, and really when core change comes within. So yes, I have ignored red flags and ignored my spidey senses in a million of situations. And it always is detrimental to self. It has not been a moment where I have been like, nah, I'm gonna ignore this feeling that I got about this person, or I'm gonna ignore this business deal with this person, and it went well. Typically, my first couple of interactions with situations or people, I am a good read of it. But sometimes when you are a good read of it and you call people on it, that seems as you're being negative, or you don't want to work with people, or it creates a trajectory for you. So you become fearful of listening to yourself in situations like that. And you start ignoring red flags that show you need to jump ship earlier. Some people are good at seeing the red flags and jumping ship early. I am a person, again, like I said, seeing potential and seeing like, oh, maybe they'll work and they'll do change. That has never worked as an adult. So, you just see in different life situations of how you want to listen to yourself more, how you want to trust yourself more, and that begins in how you work with who you are and who you look at in the mirror. I am a very practical person. I am a very action person, and looking in the mirror, writing your affirmations, writing your things down, writing your prayers down, doing things that constantly remind you of how great you are and how strong you are and how beautiful you are and what God has created you for. You have to create that environment on a constant basis. The environment you are in also constitute supporting who you are and what you believe inside. And now this is all conversation. Let me preference for people that are healing, working on themselves, trying to grow. If you are not in a healthy space mentally, you're going to struggle at some point. You're going to continue to fall down at the ladder. So it takes baby steps, and it takes really taking time to hear yourself. But as you get in different environments, it's going to change. It's going to become more difficult. That's why you have to be more sound to who you are. Trusting it. The crazy part about it is, my entire life, I felt like I was made for this. And I never trusted it. Or I felt like it was going to come in some odd, awkward way. Life also sometimes spins you into what you're supposed to be doing and what your purpose is, and what your life is supposed to be, and what the trajectory is for you. It will end up if you continuously seek the path that you're supposed to be on. So it's such a combination of life and how it will all work out and what's going to be beneficial for you and along your journey. And as we go along this journey of life as women, we will learn listening to ourselves, trusting ourselves, relying on ourselves in certain key moments. It may not be the whole pie, because situations, all that matters, but if that is our first intention, and putting God first, and hopefully God will put in me what I need to do best, and being able to put us on the same playing field of listening and trusting and instilling me with what I need to do. That is going to allow so much more relief. I will say for the last 2 years, I have felt under shackle and bondage because I just wasn't being myself. I wasn't trusting myself. I wasn't listening to like, Goody, you be knowing. Like, Goody, you know right from wrong. You know this ain't feeling right. I ain't really liking this. And I'm continuously trying to mold myself into things that is just not me. Mold myself into things that I know is not right. And, undue influence and outside forces will definitely try to throw you off your foundation. It's up to you to say, no, man, my foundation is solid. I'm good. And it's also up to you to say, no, I need to work on some things and change some things and make my foundation more solid. But it is such a relief of freedom to be able to hear the little girl inside the Goody, to be able to know no matter what decision I make, whether I'm happy, sad, whatever, that person inside of me is still being fulfilled and still meeting the expectation. I'm still excited when I get my little setup, and I don't care what nobody's saying in the comments, and I don't care about what the reviews is on the first episode. I know every day I'm going to get better and take a step to that. I am okay with that. And that is the space that I want all of my good people to eventually get to, of you can do it. You are solid. You do have the skills and the tool sets to be whatever it is that you want to be, and you got to trust that, because if there is an unwavering trust in that, no matter what comes your way, no matter what happens, you will be solid to who you are. You will be solid to, I am okay with every move I make. I respect myself. Setting clear, solid boundaries, being able to say no, being able to say, no, I don't like this. No. Being able to speak up when you know it may be negative. Being able to speak up or use that inner voice when it may not always go good. Because we are the first ones to speak up and be front row center when we feel like we have a collective of support. That's why it's so easy to, when people start supporting or saying other things, we're receptive to it because we want a multitude of support. But what gives me more peace and sound and I can sleep at night is when I make the decisions that's best for me. And nobody has to understand it. It is not anybody's job to understand why I make a move, why I'm doing this, but me. And it takes life experiences, it takes growth, it takes constant falling, bumping your head, doing, over and over the same things, but it takes that type of belief in yourself to say, like, no matter what, I'm going to trust who I am and what I hear myself saying back. It is almost like, when you eat bad food or you're not having a good diet, you'll have pimples or you'll be sluggish or you'll see the results of not sleeping, or you'll see the results of the bad habits you may have when you're not living a healthy life. And then when you're living a healthy life, you're drinking your water and you're eating your fruits and you're doing your workouts and you're doing your stuff, you'll see that. You'll see clearer skin. You'll see the results. You'll see a little pep in your step. That's what you have to do when listening to yourself. Am I listening to myself? Am I also listening to the people that are actually pouring back into me and wanting to see my good? Or am I listening to the naysayers? Or am I listening to the comments? Or am I listening to the people that don't understand my vision? I will tell you this, all my visionaries and all my people who have goals and aspirations. You do not need to scream into the world what your goals and your dreams and your aspirations are. Write them down in your journal, baby girl, and go ahead and keep it pushing. Because as long as you and God know what it is, that is what matters. Because I am the first one to say, I am a firm believer of, people may think I'm crazy, people may not understand, whatever. I have always felt like people didn't understand. People may see, yes, she has a gift, yes, she's talented, yes, she's good at this, whatever, but I've never felt understood, whether that's in my family, whether that's in certain relationships. I would say all of them because I'm single, but I've rarely always felt like I was misunderstood. And so when you are the one that's misunderstood, you naturally try to gravitate to things that people may relate to, or try to build friends, or you start trying to, like I said, mold yourself into something that's really not you and not who you want to be. And that is a heavy weight for sure. And when you do that too, you become complacent. So this becomes a norm, and then you become okay with this behavior. And at a certain point, you gotta, like I said, break the shackles off. You gotta put a full, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of not listening to myself. I'm tired of not trusting myself. I'm tired of not believing myself. Because when I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And there is a certain determination in women that when we want to do something, and we put our mind to it, there is nothing that can stop us. So we have to do that more consistently. We have to do that on a regular basis. We have to do that also about our dreams, our goals, our aspirations, our families. Whatever it is that we want to do, we have to continuously display that. And that does not mean it's always going to be good. You're always going to have smiles and roses. That's not even the case in the slimmest chance of life. It's going to be ups and downs. It's going to be struggles, especially when you're trying to choose joy and choose peace and choose God and choose. It's going to be extremely hard at times. That's why we have to create communities and spaces. I mean, it's a ton of people that I follow that I follow them for inspiration. I follow them for, I may be having a bad day, but in whatever the psychosis of the TikTok and the Instagram Nymphia to go to it, no matter how my day is going, I'm going to go on them two apps in Twitter. Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Okay? And on those apps, I choose to follow people that I know no matter how my day is going, it's going to inspire me. I'm going to see a photographer on there. I'm going to see a videographer on there. I'm going to see a motivational speaker. I'm going to see some comedy. I'm going to see some joy. I'm going to see some laughter. I'm going to see some how do I be better, some editing videos, whatever. I have learned to create a space where no matter what's going on in my life, when I'm on social media, it's always pouring back into me. Because at the end of the day, if you ain't the best you, who are you? Zoe. Anyways, I want so much good for my good people. And I want so much good for myself. And so I'm like, if I want to be a leader of change and I want to be an agent for change, then I have to start with myself. And that is why you so have to believe in yourself. Because if you want to see your kids change, you got to change yourself. Your kid don't have, confidence because are you walking around like a confident person? And also, are you instilling that confidence in your child? Are you, the trash teacher that is tired of your job and you hate your job and you always displaying that on a regular basis? Are you the coach that gives the bare minimums because you hate your life and you're not confident and you're not doing what you really want to do? These kids watch everything that we do. They may not listen to everything we do, but they watch everything we do. And at the end of the day, I want my son to be able to make good decisions when I am not there. I want him to be confident in the person that I'm raising him to be so that he can trust at the end of the day, he knows right from wrong. He knows how to make a good decision. He knows how to walk in this world as a young black man and be a leader of young black men. So If I'm not displaying that on a regular basis, he won't have that. My niece won't have that. And that is all in trusting who you know you're supposed to be. You know who you're supposed to be by now. My youngsters, my young viewers, and the ones that's listening, like, you are building who you want to be. So create it. But as old ladies, like, we know. We know what we're supposed to be doing. We know the life we want to live. And if not, then I hope that I can inspire you to listen to yourself more. There is so many women that I see on a daily on this social media, man. You can just see so much in the world, whether they're moms, whether they got illness, whether they disabled, whatever it is. There's so many women in this world that are doing so many amazing things in the content of their homes, whether in their jobs that they're doing. Like, we are just dope, period, women, period. Okay? So you can do all of those things. And like I said, I am blessed to have this confidence in who I think I am and trust in that because of another woman instilling that in me. So hopefully I can instill in you to just trust yourself. Listen to yourself. Know you are going to be in the right time, at the right spot, at the right moment, if you continue to do the things that you want to do in alignment of your life. Period. And every episode won't be this deep. But maybe, because I'm also talking to myself, I'm also listening to myself of, I know, and this is why I was always a leader, I know I'm not the only one that feels like this. I know I'm not the only one that is doubting myself or adding people that shouldn't probably be in my life and letting people kind of come in and change and mold because I want friends and I want to not be alone and I want to be in this space of affection and love and all this stuff. Like, that is a real thing. So I can understand how you can stop listening to who you are and accept things around you and be all topsy-turvy. So I'm not only talking to you, I'm also talking to myself. And the battles will be real, the struggles will be transparent, but you have to know that you good. You really are. And no matter how heavy the storm may look, stay solid and grounded to your foundation and who you are, who you believe you are, who you want to be. It can't be any other way. I want to be a good player. I'm going to put in the work to do that. I want to be the best teacher. I'm going to put in the work to do that. I want to be the best coach. I'm going to put in the work to do that. Key phrase. If I want it, I gotta put in the work to do it. That's not, works is no good. No works equals no good. So if we want a result of flourishment in our life, if we want a result of good in our life, then we have to work for it. And it's easier said than done. Trust me. Easier said than done. But the reward will be so fulfilling, so renewing, just even myself in creating today's episode. It will put such a freedom on your life when you just trust yourself, when you listen to yourself, when you know that womanly intuition, as they always say. Trust that. That's a real thing. Like, move in that sense, and it may be against the norm. Who gives a damn? It may be against what your family say. Who cares? It may be against what society has determined your life should be. Who gives a damn? Like, we cannot live anymore another day with the thought process of what somebody else is going to think, how it's going to benefit somebody else, and what it's going to do for somebody else. We just can't. we deserve a little bit more. So I am gonna wrap it up for episode 1. I think I got my point across very clearly. I'm just so happy to create this space. I know it's gonna be absolutely amazing, freaking dope. We going up, all 2023, and I want you guys to like, subscribe, share content, share clips. It's only gonna grow. Give me more topics that you guys want to talk about, or some questions you may have for me. You can send me a direct message. I'll have my email on there. And again, I love my good people. I want y'all to go out and be good and do good things, because the world just needs a little bit more joy. And holding all your secrets and all your knowledge of how you became the dope woman that you are is selfish. We need to share this game. We need to create a community of clear, transparent communication between women, and how we can just build that and grow that. I am so for that. So y'all have a blessed day. Y'all be good, my good people, and I'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace.